Today we will look at variable scope, and the two different type of scope that we will look at is local scope and global scope. Right? So local scope, it is relevant within a function, and global scope, the scope is defined by the entire file. Okay, right. So scope. For example, we have declared a variable int x here, right? And this is the main function, right? The scope of this int x is from there till the end of the bracket. That is, you can use this throughout the main function. Okay? Now, for instance, if we have in the main function, we have a for loop and we have int I equals to 0 and other things, and then we have the for loop brackets. That means this I we can only use within these brackets. We cannot use this outside the brackets. So these two brackets are the scope for the variable I. Right? And again, for example, if there's a if statement within a main, right? And you declare a variable, for example, y here, int y. So you will only be able to use y between these brackets. As soon as you leave these brackets and you attempt to use y, it will give you an error. Right? So that is a local scope. It is relevant within a function. For example, here it's relevant within only the main function. Right? And global scope. Right? It is not a good programming practice to use a global scope because like there you have your int main here, and global scope you declare the variable on top of the int main somewhere after the IOC and using namespace std. Right? So the variable you declare here, it can be used at any part of the program. So the best thing about that is, for example, if you have created a variable and you have created another variable in one of the functions, then it will conflict with the values. Right? So are you clear about scopes? Yeah, okay, right. Okay, so let's move on to the next part. Let's look at local scope. Right? So here we have a main function and then we have a variable declared called number, and it has been initialized to the value 0. Right? Next, you are asking the user for a number and the user enters the number. Right? So this variable number will be valid from here till the start to the end. That means you can use the variable number anywhere, right, within these brackets. So here we have if number is greater than 3, we can use number also here, right? And then we have a for loop. Int I equals to 0, I is less than 10, I plus plus. We can also use the number here. So this is the scope from where it is declared number till the end of the last bracket in the int main, right? So all is the scope of the variable number. You can also use it inside the if statement, inside the for loop, right? Now, here is a bit of summary. So when we declare a variable, the name and value is only alive for some parts of the program, right? For example, if we declared a variable int z here, it would only have been active in this for loop. You wouldn't have been able to use it outside the for loop, right? And for example, number you have declared in the main, and this if statement and the for loop come inside the main function. Therefore, you are able to use it here, right? So when you declare variable, that name and value is only alive for some parts of the program, right? We must declare variables before you use them so that the scope of a variable starts when it is declared, right? So that is the thing. Before using a variable, we need to declare the variable. One quick question. If we do not declare our variable and use them, will we get a compile error or a runtime error? So if we use a variable, for example x, and we haven't declared the variable, will we get a runtime error or a compile time error? Okay, set. One answer is compile, and the other answer, okay. So yeah, that is the correct answer. If we do not declare variable, the compiler will issue as a warning. It will be a compile error, right? Now, if a variable is declared within a block compound statement, it only stays alive until the end of the block, right? So here, this is a block from one bracket to another bracket, for example k. Now k is only alive within this block, block 2, right? Now, if the block is the one surrounding the entire body function, the variable is alive from where it is declared until the end of the function. Yeah. So it is declared somewhere here number. So it is active until the end of the function. Now, if the block defines a loop body or if statement, the variable only lives till the end of the loop or if. We have discussed that. You can add a block anywhere you want in the code and it will define the scope for a variable declared within it. Right? So for example, you can create a scope here using a block using two brackets and it's a block. Right? We refer to them as a block. Now any variable to declare here, you'll only be able to use it till the time it's declared and till the end of the brackets. Right? So all of you are clear on local scope? Yes, great. Any questions? Okay, right. Now let's move on to global scope. Right? There is another kind of scope called global scope. This is for variables shared between functions. Global variables are defined outside any block, right? So it's defined not in the main function, not within if statement or something. So we have the main function here, and you can declare a global scope here, the global variable here. So till the time it's declared, and after any lines of code, you'll be able to use this variable. Okay. Now they are visible to every function defined after them. Generally, global scopes are not a good idea. So it is not a good programming practice to use a global variable, right? But here's why. But here's what they are and how to use them and when they can be useful, right? So now a question for you. You have 5 minutes to attempt it. Consider the following function. Which of the statement is correct? Right? So attempt it and let's see who gets the right answer. So I hope you are attempting it. If you are attempting the question, can you please say yes in the chat? Okay, great. Yeah. So attempt it. So your answer is D. Okay. Let's wait for Krishna to answer and let's see if he answers. Now let's discuss your answer. Uh, you can use only one return in a function. Okay. So that's why you are saying D. Right. We can only retain one type in a function. So if the temperature is greater than 30, we return true. Else we return false. Right? We will either return this or this. We won't return both of them because there's the if statement. Right? So we are not returning two things. We are returning one thing based on the if statement. So D is out. Right? So yeah, what's the next option? The parameter temporary should have been of type Boolean. Okay, now answer my question. Temperature. Temperature is what? What values are of temperature? Temperature that 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, right? So, or 50.1, 50.2. Yeah, so temperature temp is integer here, right? 30 is an integer. But double, it can also be 30.1, 30.2, right? So double is the right keyword here. Bool can only have true and false, so this one is out. Okay. So try. Okay, yes, E. So E is the correct answer, none of the above. Now let's go through each of the cases. The function should have the return type double. That is not true. Since we are returning true and false, Boolean is the correct return type. Right? Next we are all what's not clear. Okay. So E is the correct answer. Is it still not clear? Is it clear now? Yeah, okay, right. Yeah. So yeah. So let's look at A. The function should have return type double. Since we are returning true and false, Boolean is the correct return type. We cannot return true and false with double. So this is also out. We have already discussed this. Now, the function does not always retain a value, right? So if the user can enter any values can come in the parameters 30, 31, 32. So if it's greater than 32, we'll return true, else we'll return false. So the function always has a return value, so this is also false. So the best answer here is none of the above. Any questions regarding this question? Okay, I hope. Great. Now let's move to the next one. Now, what will it print? So attempt this question, please. So we have a new participant. Yes. So Eva, we are attempting this question. So you can also attempt this question, and please provide the student ID for attendance. Right? Okay. Thank you, Eva. Now you can attempt the question. Okay, the ones who are attempting, you can continue to attempt the question. And the ones who have joined now, can you please provide your student ID? If you are attempting the question, can you please indicate that you are attempting it by saying yes? Okay, great. Yes, continue attempting it. So any solutions? So you have 2 minutes remaining, and then we'll have the answer. So 2 minutes. Whatever you've done for any numbers, for number A, B, C, D, just post it. Okay, right. So whatever you've done, can you please write in the chat box for the answers you've already got? Doesn't matter if right or wrong. Just whatever you've done, please just write it here so that you can compare. Okay, right. So we've got 2 answers, right? So now let's go and see this. So always we need to start with the main function, right? But in this case, we have a variable number declared and it has been initialized to the value of 1, right? So at the first moment when you print number, it will take this value into consideration and it will print 1, right? Next, within this scope, from here to where does this go till? From here to here. We have from there to there, we have number equals to 3. Now B, when you print the number, it will print 3, right? Now, here number equals to 3. We have done this line, now change number. Number equals to 2, right? And then we come back here. So remember, number equals to 2 is only valid within this scope. when you return back here, it will again print 3. Right? So C is 3. Next we have another scope. Print the number again. Right? So number will still be 3. Now number equals to 4. And when you print the number here, it will print 4. Now we go again to the back here. Now when you print number, it will get the number from here and then print, which is not 4 but 3. And at the end of this scope, it will print number to give, so this is the last one, it will give 1. Right? So the main idea here is, see there, this is a very bad program. We have number declared everywhere and also we have a global variable. And in this case, we should avoid these global variables. Right? So, and always have different variable names. This program might not even compile, but the idea here was just to see, just to understand the scope of the program, right? So this number will be valid from here to here, this will be valid from here to here, and this will be valid throughout the whole program, right? So I hope like you understand, like when a variable is declared, its scope is from the time it is declared till the time the bracket of that block ends, right? And if it is the global variable, we can use it anywhere in the program, right? From the time it's declared. And we should avoid global variables and have different name for different variables. Okay. Now, what would be a good comment to describe the function? You can attempt this. It's just a multiple choice. So, yeah, what do you think is the best answer? You have 60 seconds to attempt this. And all of you should give an answer. Okay, so we have one solution and the others. So two solutions and there are 4 of you. So Jose and Silvera, what are your answers? So all of you are saying A. And Silvera, your answer? Okay, right. Okay, right. So he has left the right. Okay. So you are saying A. This is a void function, right? What would be a good comment? This is true. This is true. This is also true. This is true. This is true. But what be a good comment? Like comments are not for programmers. Programmers will see void and say, yeah, it's a void function. So it's for the people, it's for normal people to know like what the function does. So this is a void function. The function is named display type are not really good, not good. The function prints to the standard output to screen yeah, that's what every function will do. It has a CF statement. So this one is also out, this one is out, this one is out, right? This function uses parameters gross pay and tax rate and returns nothing. So yeah, when a programmer sees this, he will see up to parameters and he will also see it returns nothing. When we are writing good comment, we are writing like what the function does. For example, if the function calculates the age of people, so you will write this function calculates the age of all the people, right? So the best descriptive answer here is B. This function prints gross and net pay and gives doubles gross pay and tax rate. Right? So this line is the best. It's a good comment. We describe what the function actually does. Right? Any confusion? Okay, right? So let's continue. So all of the parameters discussed so far were value parameters, right? The value parameters, yeah, this is a normal parameter, it's a value parameters. When you call a function with a value parameter, you pass its value to the function. And once, for example here, you change the value, you don't have any parameters. For example, if you had a gross pay here, and you change the value for gross pay here, the value of the gross pay will not be changed in the int main, right? The value will be lost unless you return the value. So only way to get the changed value to the int main is to return the value. This is because the end of the function is the end of the scope, right? Now to make the value that is changed here to remain in the function, we use something called reference parameters. The thing in reference parameters, the only thing in the syntax, we have what you call the ampersand sign. So on your keyboard, on the number 7, that is the symbol that you use, right, for referencing. Semantics, when you declare a variable in a program, the compiler receives amount of space for that variable and a reference parameter with the ampersand sign uses that reference to the location rather than the value stored at that location. Example, to pass an argument as a reference, receive the argument name with an ampersand. Right? Yeah, so there's the brain idea behind reference parameters when you want to remember the value. In value parameters, for example, tax rate. The tax rate, if, for example, if we change the tax rate to 10% in this function, in the main function, the tax rate value will remain the same. The changed value won't reflect in the main function. But if we have an ampersand sign, and if we change a value here, the value in main function will also change, right? So that's the difference between a reference parameter and a value parameter, right? And yeah, so today we learned two things: the scope of a variable and how reference parameters work. The scope of a variable is a part of the program in which it is variable. A variable in a nested block shadows a variable with the same name in an outer block. A local variable is defined inside a function. A global variable is defined outside a function. We should avoid global variables in our programs. It's a bad programming practice. Now, how reference parameters work. Modifying a value parameter has no effect on the caller. A reference parameter refers to a variable that is supplied in a function call. Modifying a reference parameter updates the variable that was supplied in the call. Right? So some of you attended late, so we discussed the scope of variables and how reference parameters work. So it will define in this step. So reference parameters, we will go more in depth in that in our next session. And let's see what's the last slide. Yeah. So do you have any questions regarding scope of variables and reference parameters? or anything that we have discussed today? Are you confused with that? Anything? Right, so one question is clear and the other two? Okay, so all of you are clear on the thing discussed today. And do you have any other questions in CS111? No other questions? Okay, so I'll stop the recording and thank you very much for attending. And if you have any other questions, I'll be here. You can ask, right?